Did you know that the common definition of authority isn't that accurate these days? And for growing your personal brand, you need to act a little bit differently, especially when there's so many things going on right now. In this video, you will know how to build your personal brand in difficult times. We'll get to the details on what's missing when people try to grow their personal brand, and how you can leverage that to prosper, even in a stressful time. To help you with your new strategy, I invited a special guest today, Dan Kuschell. Dan helps entrepreneurs get unstuck by implementing unique systems that achieve accelerated growth. With 25 years of experience, he started more than 11 companies and coached over 5,000 entrepreneurs from a variety of industries around the world. He has been rated as the top 25 influencer by Influencive, and his podcast is recommended by Forbes magazine. Hi Dan, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks, Marina.
It's so great to have you on the show. I'm so excited about this. And me and our listeners, I wonder, what is your entrepreneurial story? Please share it with us.
Wow, it's been quite a journey, Marina. I got started in this industry all the way back in the late 1980s. My sister got me a role in a direct response marketing company. And while I was going to college, my dream as a kid was to play pro baseball, and that didn't quite work out. And so during the summers, I would work at this direct response marketing company. And Marina, you know how when you love something, you just will, start studying it and do everything you can. And for me, it became my passion because I love the idea of human behavior and why people do stuff, why they don't do stuff. And I got obsessed with it, quite frankly. And for me, it kind of became my PhD. And I immediately started seeking out coaches and mentors, people like Brian Tracy, Michael Gerber of the E-Myth, Tony Robbins, and many more. And, it was just such a fascinating experience. And then fast forward after college, I started my first company all the way back in 1992. Fast forward to today, I've since had 11 companies. I've been so incredibly blessed. And, what does it mean when you have 11 companies? For me, what it means, I crashed a few of those companies. I crashed 3 companies in the backyard. I had to bury them because we didn't get, kind of the results we wanted. And of the 11, though, I've had 8 that were either high 7 or 8-figure companies. And then I've sold 2 of the companies. Actually was acquired by a company doing over $100 million a year. And I was very blessed to have that happen. And now I get the ability to go serve and help founders and CEOs grow their business, grow their impact, grow their reach with far less stress. So it gets them out of the day-to-day. It gives them the ability to have more freedom in their life so they can, spend more quality time with their families, spend more time doing the things they really enjoy, either in the business or, as importantly, for some of the clients we've worked with, out of the business. And so it's been a fascinating ride. And every day is just a new opportunity, a new chapter. Yeah.
That is so interesting. And the way you say it, I just started 11 businesses. I've been looking for coaches and I reached out to Brian Tracy. How does that happen? It's out of the blue, you just started getting in touch with those people. How did the Brian Tracy endorse your book? How did Dean Graziosi became your client? How did you get to that circle from where you've been in the very beginning?
Yeah, so for whatever reason, I think either on accident, on purpose, or some dumb luck, frankly, I just really have a high value of relationships, Marina. And, in all of these cases, it all happened as a strategic byproduct of me giving first. And it's a little bit of a backwards, maybe to a lot of people, a way of thinking about things. I always looked at it like, what could I contribute first? And then it automatically leads to an opportunity for them to go, how can I help you? And ultimately, when I can remember it like yesterday with Brian Tracy, for example, he had a guy at the time who was his event coordinator named Dwayne Hendrickson, I believe was his name. I might have the last name off a little bit because it's been a lot of years. But at the time, I was promoting my book on radio, and I was a huge fan of Brian's. And I had read one of his original books, which is a classic called Maximum Achievement. I'd gone through a few of his audio courses and programs. I'd taken one of his online trainings. And so Dwayne was hosting this event in Phoenix. And I said, hey, man, what do you guys need help with? And he says, well, we, of course, could use more people. And so on my radio show, I started promoting the seminar that they were doing. And I believe I had put 15 or 20 people in the room to attend the seminar that Brian Tracy was going to be attending. And so I communicated this with Dwayne, and then I told him my story about how his book impacted me. And he said, well, hey, why don't you sit up in the front row? Brian would love to meet you, right? And then I got into a conversation with Brian during this one-day seminar he hosted. And then Brian asked me, he said, hey, can you take me to the airport, right? And so I ended up taking Brian to the airport, and on the conversation we were talking about his business and so on, and he asked what I was doing. And I said, well, hey, I happen to have my book. It was a previous edition of this book, one of my originally published book, A Champion in the Making. And I said, would you be kind enough to endorse it and give your feedback on it? And he said, yes. I just asked. That came, though, because I put 14, 15 people in his event, in his seminar. So that's one example. Dean Graziosi, I was introduced by a friend of mine named Jimmy, and Jimmy had known of some of the things that I can do, like building companies and helping companies grow and expand their sales. So Jimmy set up a meeting. I can remember it like yesterday as well. And so I sat down with Dean, and we talked about his business and where he had kind of hit a plateau at the time, and was, he was like, man, I just want to grow this thing. I want to expand. And I said, well, I think I can help you. Do you want my help? And he said, yes. And I said, okay, great. And I came in and I set up a model where, small retainer fees. Most of my, opportunity came from results, performance-based. So I look at it like performance-based contribution is a way to view it. Like, how do you put value first to get in return? And so I delivered on that promise to Dean, and we helped him double his company in 90 days, right? And we grew his team, right? We built this amazing thing. We grew sales. We decreased the cancel rate or refund rate. Then we helped him with several other things in the business, but it was started with that conversation with Jimmy, finding out what he needed help with, providing a solution. Joe Polish, very similar situation. Joe Polish, who runs a group called Genius Network, the highest level entrepreneurs, some people say in the world, and it's an amazing community. Well, when he started that many years ago, before he'd started it, Joe had become a client of mine. He bought one of my initial education programs at an event I was speaking at. And so, Marina, what ended up happening was we stayed in touch, relationship in nature. And Joe's a giver, I'm a giver. And so then in 2006, he started Genius Network. And he said, hey, I'm starting this group. It's going to be $25,000 to join this thing. Do you want to join? And I said, yeah, I'd love to be a part of it. And then I became an advocate, and I started introducing him to people. Well, I was friends with Dean Graziosi, so I introduced him to Dean and many other people as well who joined Genius Network. And one thing led to another, and this was in a time when I was building a couple of my companies, Marine, up pretty substantially. At my peak, I had almost 200 employees. We were doing a couple $1 million a month, right? We had done a lot over a few years. It was amazing. That was two of the companies I had sold came out of this experience. And I was in Joe's Genius Network for 5 years. And then after I sold my businesses, I took a break from his group, for some time to work on my health. Be more present with my kids, be available, be a dad, all these amazing things that I was so blessed to get a chance to do. And then I came back into the group about 2 years later, and I was sitting down with one of the members who I'd become friends with, built a bonded relationship with. And he said, well, what are you doing now? I said, well, I'm just having fun doing doing projects with fun people that I like, and helping people grow their businesses with less. So he said, would you think about working with Joe? I said, well, I didn't know Joe needed any help. So he helped connect us, facilitate the conversation. It took about 6 months to come up with the right model, but Joe and I sat down. Ultimately, we agreed to work together, and then I was able to help Joe triple the business and grow profits by almost 15 times. But it started with what do you need help with? And then being able to deliver on that promise. If there's one thing that someone could take away from this conversation, or a couple things. One, relationships. Two, it's performance-based contribution. Come from a give first versus an ask, right? Number three, it's being able to understand someone's problems, right? And whether I could have solved those problems or not, I would have worked to find a solution, right? So the other thing is, although in those three examples, of course, I was able to help give them the solutions to grow with less stress and become more profitable. If I couldn't deliver on that, I still always go, okay, if I can't provide that, who do I know that can? So it's also being like a point guard in basketball, a facilitator, if you will, of, okay, here's the problem. Here's a solution. Ideally, if it can fit for us, great. But if it can't fit for us, let me still be invaluable, and get you connected to someone who can. Those are a few of the key things that I think come out of that. Yeah.
And you've been in touch with so many interesting people, with so many authorities, and now you share a lot about how to grow your authority, how to work with the influencers. But what's interesting, you disagree with the common definition of authority. Can you tell us more about that?
I do. Yeah, so I know there's a lot of experts, Marina, that you and I may know, that they say, to build authority, or to get people to buy from you, they must know, like, and trust you. And I think this is like one of the biggest lies and one of the biggest myths in the world, right? And here's why. As you're listening right now, or you're watching right now, think about this. First of all, how many times in the last 30 days have you bought somebody, you didn't know them from Adam? You didn't know the other person that you were buying them from. If you've ever bought online, like a company like Amazon, you didn't know the person who handled the transaction, yet you bought, right? Because of the platform, right? So I believe that the idea of know, like, and trust, although it's good intention, good meaning, good intentions don't make us money. Good intentions don't get us clients. Good intentions, a lot of time, and here's why this is a problem for people following this know, like, and trust method and buying into it fully, right? If you're a people pleaser, and here's a damaging confession about myself. In my career, I have had a tendency to be more of a people pleaser, right? Like, I go out of my way to please people. And if you have a tendency to be a people pleaser, which it's a very traditional trait of most high-performing entrepreneurs, is they have a tendency to be people pleasers. You might have a tendency to be a people pleaser. And here's the thing. If that's the case and you buy into this model, they must know you, like you, and trust you, your likability factor and the desire for people liking you is going to cost you in your business, right? It's going to actually cost you clients, not attract you clients. So the difference is slight, right? And it's not completely an either or. It's not a right or wrong. It's a kind of an and. And here's the new way to be thinking about this model of authority. It's not about know, like, and trust. Rather, it's about getting people to trust and respect you, right? What do you have to do to get people to trust and respect you? Now, in the old days, a way to do this, in the way a lot of it was done in radio. In fact, one of my, a catalyst to a lot of the success I've been blessed to have came because of understanding what I'm going to share. In radio, like if you look at typical, like Oprah today, fast forward to today's model. If you get an expert like Oprah and you go on her show, she has the audience. She is the champion to her audience. Now you come on, people don't know you at all, but now you go onto her platform, right? She already has trust with the audience. Her endorsement to you gives you respect. When you bridge the two of trust and respect, there's an immediate increase in timing, which shortens sales cycles, which also shortens the curve as far as how long it can take, right? So that's a way to think about what would you have to do. And there are technologies today that you can use to be able to create trust and respect on your own without having to rely on anybody else. And if you get endorsements from anybody else, it can work. Like, why do joint ventures work? Dov Gordon was on your show here recently, and he talked about joint ventures, right? And how to be successful with joint ventures. Well, one of the biggest reasons joint ventures work so well is this trust respect factor, right? It's one of the critical pieces. Would you like to know how to be able to create this for yourself? Well, I'm going to give you just a quick snapshot. And of course, Marina, we can go deeper or shorter, but a simple way that you can do this right now is building your content model, but not just any content model will do, right? Because there's a lot of content models. Like there's people teaching you and I, to go out there and, put all this content out there, put all this social media out there. And that's a bunch of nonsense too. Like if you want to, watch yourself like fall into a rabbit hole of disappointment, just start posting articles and posting content and posting social media posts, waiting for your lead register to ring or your cash register to ring or to generate more clients, right? And especially in the times that we're in right now, at the time that we're doing this interview, we're at one of the peaks or close to the peaks of one of the biggest crises in the world, right? Where business is completely changed. It no longer will business be done the way it had been done up until the beginning of March. Business as we know it has completely flipped. It's completely changed, and you can embrace it, you can fight it, or you can move forward with it. See, like, what do you have to do to move forward with these changing times? Like, we're at one of the most exciting times. Now, I know there can be a tendency to go, I got to back up. I got to slow down. I got to, contract. Actually, now's the time to open up. Now is the time for you. Now is the time for the little guy to succeed, because there's never been a better time. See, if what is going on right now would have happened just 5 years ago, you and I, as small business people, we'd have been completely obliviated. But if you make the right moves, you have the ability to pivot right here, right now, to be able to transform and be able to help more people. Transform your business to help more people. Now, that isn't easy, right? But it isn't going to happen, in my opinion, from real results. Like, for example, most people would think, I run a brick and mortar business. Now, let me speak to this elephant in the room. You might be thinking this is Dan, you don't understand my industry. My industry is different. Okay. Well, we've got a brick and mortar business who's a client of ours, and they've made drastic shifts to take their businesses mostly virtual. Why? To make it safe for their clients. For example, one of my clients in the HVAC, they serve HVAC, electrical, plumbers, and more, right, in the service industry, service business owners, amazing, doing amazing things. But literally, they've had over 20 clients actually have their best 30 days in company history. They're growing, not shrinking, and they're doing some smart things. Like, for example, they're handling most of their stuff virtually, right? So even if they have to come out to your house, they'll handle it virtually. So, you've got space, it's safe. They come to the house and they have rubber gloves on. They have rubber booties on. They have a gown on. They even ask, would you prefer, and they'll have a mask on their neck, but they'll go, would you want me to wear a mask while I'm in and on your property? Think about what that does to the psychology if you're a client. Does it create safety? Does it create security? Does it give you confidence if you're buying from this company versus the other company who's just acting like, this is nothing. Like, I'm not even going to pay attention to it, right? Think about that. Like, what could you do as you're listening right now to make little shifts, like this Rubik's Cube? I keep this here at my desk all the time, right? There's a great quote from Picasso. And Marina, I imagine you'll love this one. Know the basics like a pro, right? So you can break them like an artist, right? See, there are some basic fundamentals that you and I can put in place. They're evergreen. The things that we'll show you and share with you here over the next few minutes are evergreen, but they're time proven. They never will go out of date. The trust respect factor never go out of date. The relationship model we shared earlier never go out of date. That will work whether we're in good times, big markets, falling markets, or anywhere in between. This works. It can work for you. This little cube right here, right? This little cube, 3 by 3 by 3 cube, right? The Rubik's Cube. I played with this thing when I was a kid. I don't know if you played with it, but do you know Google did a analysis of this simple little cube, and they found there's 18 million combinations to solve this puzzle. 18 million. Like, think about that, right, Marina? Isn't that fascinating? 18 million. Do you know that they found there's only 18 to 20 moves it takes to solve it? Every combination, there's 18 to 20 that if you know those 18 to 20 are right. Like, what's it worth to you right now to know what those 18 to 20 moves are for your business? So you can go virtual, you can go remote, and you can go with the market, whether it's going up or in a case right now where we're having some big shifts. But instead of you being a statistic on the wrong side of it, if you know the right moves, like having authority, the way we're describing, is a right move, right? Relationship building with influence, understanding that model is the right move, right? These are timeless and they're proven, right? So what is a strategy? And there's many you can put in place, but one, if I were brand new and I were you, or you might go, oh, I'm not brand new. Okay, well, if you're not brand new and you're needing to make a pivot in your traditional, brick and mortar business, or another client of ours who's in the medical industry, like they serve people like in a medical office. Well, one of our clients, we've been working with them for a while now on this model, and his model has been generating over 50% of their patients online, and creating an online experience and been serving them online, right? He's even created a platform. We've got a good friend of ours, Dr. Jeremy Weiss, who's like one of the best people in the world, one of the best relationship people in the world, Marina, and somebody I'd love to get you connected with as well. Dr. Jeremy Weiss, he has his wife, Lee, who is a therapist, right, and a counselor, has her using a platform that's virtual. So now what was where she would meet with clients one-on-one in the office, it's completely virtual and safe and compliant in the United States with HIPAA compliance, which is a pretty big deal. Like those are just 3 or 4 examples. We got a healing client that's grown their business because they know the 18 to 20 moves. So what is a campaign you can do to create this trust and respect? Well, a simple one to do is this. And this is more tactical. There's a difference between principle-based stuff and tactical. This one is more tactical, but it's one that is working right now for our clients. One of the simplest ones. I mean, how would you like to attract clients, your perfect clients, for as little as a couple pennies per view, right? Now, here's why this is valuable, I think, for many people who don't know this. Like where I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s with my very first business, where we were spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, 6 figures type money a month on TV advertising or radio advertising. And it was like throwing spaghetti on a wall because you'd only get fractions of a percentage of that audience we were actually advertising to. In this method allows you to tune in exactly the age range, demographics, psychographics of your clients, your perfect clients, and then put your video ads in front of them. Now, when I say video ad, I'm not speaking about like sell ads. I'm talking about content, right? Case studies, stories, examples, for as little as pennies on the dollar. Like, for example, we have podcasts, like we're doing this show right now. We've put out podcast episodes using this video view campaign that we have people watching an entire 30-minute interview like we're doing right now. And we've got hundreds of thousands of views in our target, in our demographic, in our psychographic that we've narrowed down using the platform, using a social media platform like Facebook or Instagram, right? For less than $1 to watch the entire 30 minutes. We can never get that in TV or radio. We can never even have the opportunity to get that in radio. We have video view we have a lot of different content videos that are out there like this for as little as a half a cent to a couple pennies. Imagine just for a few $100s a month or a couple bucks a day, $5 a day, being able to get to your perfect audience and serve up content, valuable insights and wisdom and fun stories about you and your business, right? That is an amazing way to be able to do it. We found that this also builds affinity and it builds trust and it builds respect at the same time. So that's a tactical method, Maria. I could keep going on this, but I think I want to take a breath here because I've been going at it pretty hard.
Yes, it's just like thrown away inside by the inside. Well, as you said, it's just a crazy time right now for businesses. A lot of people stay home. You don't know what will happen next, how the economy and businesses will kind of heal from everything that's going on. So at this point, what are the methods people can use to connect with their clients, to position themselves as an authority? And instead of just, as you said, going down and close in themselves, to thrive, to actually grow.
Yes, and so again, it's coming from the original framework that you brought up initially, which is value first, right? Think of yourself as a performance-based artist. in your business. We're all performance-based artists. So how do we go out and put performance-based value into the market, right? Well, number one, it starts with the thinking from our client's point of view. We call this the boat, B-O-T-E. You got to know the boat, right? And even before the boat, which I'll talk about in a second, you got to know something else. What is the problem that your perfect client has that you solve? What is that perfect, what is the problem that they solve that only you can solve? So it's getting real clarity truly on their problem. And if you're not sure, then go ask them. If you have clients and you're not 100% sure like what problem to focus on today, interview 5 of your best clients and ask them, hey, I could use your advice. What's the biggest problem we're solving for you right now, right? Ask them, what's the biggest problem you have besides that? What else could we do for you to help solve your problems, right? Those couple questions, as simple as they sound, getting personal, getting real to understand and tune into the problem is immensely valuable. Then you focus on the boat, B-O-T-E, which is focus on their breakthrough, getting them a breakthrough, right? Well, you brought up Brian Tracy earlier. I didn't focus on me and what I was going to get out of it. I focused on, okay, Brian's number one thing, he wants more people he wants more butts in his seminar. So I helped him put more butts in a seminar. When I met Dean Graziosi, when I met with him, he said, we're kind of hit a flat line. I want to double sales. I figured out a way to help him double sales. When I work with Joe Polish, any of our clients, it's identifying what is their breakthrough that they get. What is the outcome they want, right? What is the transformation they want from it, and what's the experience? So BOAT is the breakthrough outcome transformation experience. If you know the problem, and then you can not just provide the solution, right? The BOAT, breakthrough outcome transformation, but then you can communicate how you do that better than anyone else. That's going to make a huge difference in being able to make this. So for example, I don't have it here, but let's say, for example, being a creative artist, if I had a $1 bill, if you can imagine me holding up a $1 bill in this hand, a $100 bill in this hand, right? Now, the fascinating thing about a $1 bill and a $100 bill US is if you look at them and put them on top of each other, they're both the exact same size. They're both the exact same weight. They both have the exact same color ink. Don't you have competition in your business where they kind of look the same, sound the same, they're the same size, the same weight, all those sorts of things, right? All that. Well, there's only one difference between a $1 bill and a $100 bill. What is it? What is that? What is that difference? Just like in your business, what is that difference? It's the message. It's the message on the paper. One message is 100 times more valuable. What are you doing to make your message stand out, right? Do you have clarity on the problem? Do you know your market, right? Are you clear on what your market is? Are you clear on the message? Are you clear on the method of how you deliver it and how you communicate it, right? Right? When you see a dollar bill and a $100 bill, you immediately know because the message on the paper, oh, I got an Abe Lincoln here. I got me 100. Right? I got me a hundo. You know that message helps it stand out. Is your message that clear? And I don't mean to go that simple, but that's really what it is. And then what is the offer that you make as it regard? And there's a lot to this, of course, right? There's some real distinct thinking, but if you're listening or watching right now, I challenge you. Like, who is your market? Like a great example of this, we've assessed over 4,000 businesses over the last few years doing some of the angel investing we do. And we've also interviewed over 1,000 founders of these companies. And whether it's companies like Nike or Apple or Uber or small business owners or everywhere in between that are running business, founders and CEOs, there's a lot of similarities. And we found some of the similarities, right? For example, think of the coffee business. Right now, right? The coffee business. Like imagine if you were going to start a coffee company. It's like one of the most commoditized businesses in the world. Like there's so much competition in coffee, but do you realize there's somebody who kind of went into that market, but they did it a little differently, which is the whole point here. Right now in the times we're in these stressful times and these crazy times that we're in, you've got to do things a little different. You got to make a 30-degree turn maybe. Right? This method might give you that 30-degree turn to be thinking, what can you do to pivot? What can you do to transform your business, right? To be able to operate virtually, remotely, and serve your clients at the highest levels possible, right? That's what this method will give you if you really take the time to also not just listen to this episode, but come back to this episode and go through kind of some of these exercises and think about it, right? Come back to this episode and be able to do that. So number one, This guy got into the coffee business and he said, okay, what is my unique market? Well, I'm a coffee company. Well, so is everybody else. He didn't take that approach. He said, our coffee company, here's what we do. We provide coffee to fitness enthusiasts, right? Coffee for fitness enthusiasts who like coffee. That's his who. Who is your who, right? His is fitness enthusiasts who drink coffee. That's the market. Like, are you crystal clear on your market and how it's different and who it's different for, right? Don't think broad, think narrow. And when you go narrow, actually, surprisingly, you'll actually attract broad. It's a weird little reverse paradigm that works in business. So number one is your market. Number two is the message. He looked at his message and said, okay, what is our message? Well, our message is, do you realize you can get fit drinking coffee? Who knew that? Who knew you could get fit drinking coffee? I didn't know that. Did you know that as you're listening, or what? I didn't know that. That was his message. Get fit drinking coffee. Well, you might then go, how? So that's the message. The next is the method. So the how. It's the method. He was like, well, our method, when you add grass-fed butter to the coffee, it has certain antioxidant and health properties that stimulate your body, do amazing things, I'll just say, right? I'm not a scientist or a doctor or any of that sort of stuff, but this is how we viewed it. It was his unique method. What is your unique method of how you deliver your superpower, your breakthrough, your outcome, your transformation experience, or the message, your promise, right? And then what is the solution? Like, what's the offer? Bulletproof coffee. Bulletproof coffee now, with all the things that have transcended off of the initial coffee and all the other programs and all the other things, which is now called Bulletproof 360, Dave Asprey's company will do about $100 million, maybe more now that people are home drinking a lot more coffee, right? So what could you do? Like, what is your unique market? What is your unique method? What is your unique message, unique method, your unique offer? If you go through this framework, come back to this episode, go back through it and crystallize. If you get a chance to work with Marina and some of her programs, talk to her about this. She can help you flesh some of this out to be better at what you do too. So that would be one of the first steps to make sure you've got authority, you've got the ability to attract more clients. And then the other part is ask, right? Don't make it complicated. Like, there's three main models that we are finding with our clients. Like, for example, a simple model that most people can set up. And we've got an example of this at the end of this episode. We'll give you a link so we can give you some amazing business tools, amazing business package to help you and your business right now. But pay attention as much to the model as paying attention to the amazing tools that you'll get too. Because you could set something up like, so what is this tool? This tool is a list and relationship engine, right? It's a list and relationship engine. So what is it? Basically, you create a simple, some people call this a list building page, right? Or a landing page. Some people call it an opt-in page, right? But it's simply something of value that solves a problem to a specific market, right? Then what you do, you might want to put a survey on that to get to know that potential candidate better so you can build a better relationship. And then you offer what your solution is in that list building tool. That's one of the simplest, easiest tools to start the relationship. Now, I know people go, well, I got to build followers on Facebook. No, you don't. I know a lot of broke people who have a lot of followers on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, and everywhere else for that matter. I will tell you, putting dollars to donuts, that if you will put your time and energy into a list building tool versus that nonsense, you'll be far better off in 6 months. I can tell you that when I've sold a couple business, now helped others sell businesses, grow their companies to sell them, the number one asset that anybody who buys a company is looking for is not your social media followers. Now, they like those, but what do they like far more and actually put real monetary value behind is your list of two things. Your list of subscribers that you have as prospects and your customers. Those two lists matter as an asset. So if you want to spend your time messing around with those other things, that's awesome. And we do it because it supports those things. But we also know the number one focus is building a list of two things, of prospects and potential clients and clients, right? And understand it's relationship building. Coming back to the very first thing, Marina, you asked, which is about the relationship. When you take the relationship online, it stays the same. It's how can I serve you? How can I help you? What can I serve you? What's problems do you have? What challenges do you have? And then providing the solutions to those things. But it starts with that simple list and relationship building model. That's the number one model that will help you. And there's a couple other models, right? This particular model, we work with several clients where they've generated thousands and thousands of candidates and clients a month, right? One of the models that we have had in our business that ultimately we sold, we were generating over 2,000 clients a week from this exact model we're describing right now. And it's not as complicated as a lot of experts would have you believe. There's tools you can get that you can find. I'm sure Marina's got access to some amazing resources that she can share with you. We can post some links to some of the top recommendations of like setting up this simple model to build your list building and relationship model. It's a page, a survey. You might even skip the survey because you might go, oh, that's a little too complicated. Okay, maybe skip that part and then just put your thank you page. Ideally, you have some kind of welcome message with a video, right? Let them know that they can get your tool in your inbox, right? I don't know that I'd necessarily put the tool right on the page. You can do that, but have a welcome video. Train them to go to your email, go to their email to open the emails. Human behavior. I talked about in the beginning how I got started. And if you want people to do what you want them to do, you got to start training them from moment one. Then on top of that is email them, which is also one of the models. One of the top most successful models. People go, well, how often should I email? Well, I would encourage you, especially in these crazy times we're in right now, what do people need and want? They need connection. They need safety. They need confidence. They need a plan. They need direction. You can be that person that helps them, helps save lives. That's what you and I have the ability to do as business. We save lives. Almost every business has a way that they're saving lives. Now, I don't know if it's to that extent for you or it isn't, but I hope you take it that serious. And if you have the ability to save someone's business or save someone's life or provide value and add value to them and transform their business, breakthrough outcome transformation, like one of my clients who's in this HVAC business, they don't see themselves as, oh, I'm a plumber. No, I'm helping you save your home. I'm adding more value to your home. I'm saving your home. I'm helping your family. It's not I'm coming in to fix your plumbing. No, I'm here to help give you home comfort. There's a difference in that thinking. What thinking do you have to pivot with? What thinking, new ways? The old way of business is done. Like it's out the window. What new ways? I could keep going on this stuff. So let me summarize these last couple of things. Number one, a video view model to build up respect and trust, right? And you can do that for literally pennies, a couple bucks a day. Simple to do. Create some content videos that are super simple to do. Build your list and relationship model. Right? Describe that. You can come back to the episode and have the blueprint of what that is. An email model where you're emailing ideally daily, sometimes twice a day, depending on your industry, depending on your niche. You might say, well, let me speak to the elephant. You might go, oh, I don't want to over communicate. Right now, I'm going to tell you, is a time to over communicate. And the time that we're in right now, it is a time to over communicate and connect with people and connect with your potential perfect. Because if they're not buying from you, they're going to buy from someone else. Wouldn't you rather it be you? Right? So I'd encourage you to look at what do you have to get in place to be emailing and connecting with them daily. Now, there's some strategies to do this right, because if you just sell, offer, you're going to piss people off and you're going to push them away. And you don't want to be the salesy person. You don't want to be the hypey person. You want to be the person, again, trust, respect. It's a trust, respect model. The ultimate authority model works, whether it's in a one-on-one, if you're at a, God help us, hopefully we can get back to this place where we can be face to face again and belly to belly with people and see each other and hug each other out, all that sort of stuff, right? It works there. It also works in email, digital, virtual, online, remotely. The same psychology, the same framework works there as it does here. Email, list building, and there's others. I'm going to stop there because there's 3 other models that are amazing, but for sake of time, Marina, I think this is a good place for me to take another breath.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, my dear listeners, I think you need to go back and listen to all episode again, because I'm sitting here, I'm like, so many ideas on what you can implement right now. And then if you would summarize it and give it like a really short 1, 2, 3 steps for our listeners to what should they do in this crazy time to grow their business, to thrive?
So if I were to give three things to do today, I would encourage you, one, get connected. Get connected to a community like Marina's or others out there where you've got peer support, you've got people who care about you, who can help you, and or get you connected with the help. I can't speak for Marina, I'll speak for myself. I don't have all the answers for everything. And if I don't have the answers, and I've got people who come to me daily, dozens of people now as clients daily going, hey, what about this? Okay, we can't help provide that solution, but we can get you connected to people who, if you're working with Marina, chances are she operates from that place, right? So get connected. That's the number one thing. This whole entire conversation is about how do you connect and how to do it in a cool, effective, long-term approach. Take the long-term approach. Number two, I would encourage you to narrow down your focus, right? Narrow down your focus. It's not 18 million things you need to do and be scattershot. It's like the 18 to 20 moves. Like I would hope if I were meeting a advisor like myself, that advisor would just tell me straight up what to do and what not to do. Now, we don't have time to go into much more, but if I were you, here are a couple things that I would do. Number one, focus on relationship building, connecting. Number two, I would encourage you to start getting your message out with video views. Build up your audience. You can build up your audience in a very inexpensive, cool way and take a long-term approach with it, right? It's not going to necessarily bring you clients this second. The model is more like you're building a campfire. You light this piece of paper, up, get a fire, then you put some kindling on it, that's relationship. You put some branches on it, that's relationship building. Then you got a nice fire, now you can put a log on it. Now that is someone who becomes a client, right? It's campfire building, not standing there with a match and trying to throw a match at a log. Right? That's the old way of doing it. That's the old school way that doesn't work or will have you very frustrated and poor, frankly, right? So it's relationship building. It's long-term focus. I would get a video view campaign out there. I would focus on building your list and emailing your list regularly. There's more, but those would be the handful. And if you want to see an example of this, we put together a special tool for Marina and your group. If you'd like me to share that or you post it in the links, just depending on how you do it, we've got that available too with some great business tools to help you, look at how you can grow with less stress as a founder, CEO, business owner. Yep.
Yeah, definitely, Dan. Please share with our listeners how they can find out more about you, about other resources, what can help them to work on their business right now.
So if you want to get a glimpse at some of the tools of how we work to help people, we create a special link for Marina and you as you're listening or watching right now. You can go to activate.breakthrough3x.com. That's activate.breakthrough3x.com. In there, we've put together a handful, 4 of our very best tools to help simplify growing your business, how to be able to look at doing it from a CEO's perspective. It's a CEO's checklist that's really geared to help you be a better owner and leader of your business, even if you're not like an administrative type CEO. I actually initially created it for me. So there's the CEO's marketing plan blueprint, right? If you want to get clarity on those 4 main things we talked about, your market, your message, your method, and your offer, this marketing plan blueprint will walk you through a process to be thinking about how can I effectively focus on the right 18 to 20 moves. It has 20 questions, in fact, to get crystal clarity on your marketing and your marketing message and how to deliver it. We also have a tool called the How to Sell More by Selling Less, because wouldn't we agree most people don't like to be sold, right? But they like to buy things, right? So the new way of doing business, this way we've been talking about, it's never going to be the same again. Like the old way of selling is gone. The old way of business building is gone. So there's a new way, and this one of the new ways is actually not selling people, it's interviewing, right? And there's a method to interview people to then enroll them into what you do. But that's what happens. They buy in, you don't sell them, right? So if you'd like to learn how to build a buyer's culture, not a selling culture. In fact, we've actually adopted this with some clients in a few of our companies where we've turned customer service reps into high performers, high achievers in the business. And which is kind of an amazing gift in and of itself. So you're going to get this outline tool for that and a couple others. So you can get that at activate.breakthrough3x. That's activate.breakthrough3x.
Fantastic, Dan. My dear listeners, I'll put all the links into the show notes. So I will make sure that you will not miss anything. Go and check them out. And then thank you so much for being such an amazing guest on the show. It was a privilege to have you here today.
Thank you, Marina.
I hope you got new insights on how to build your personal brand in difficult times. And also maybe you got new ideas to try. If you enjoyed this video, like it, make sure you subscribe to this channel and click that little bell so you will get notified about the new videos. And leave me a comment below. Did you start building your personal brand already or still thinking about it? If you want to get even more personal branding strategies, check this video. There are more useful tips.